heaviest woman in the world. Are you seeing a theme with this segment? According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Pauline Potter now wants Dr. Oz to help her lose the weight. Most of us want to lose just 10 to 50 pounds, but even that seems like a bit of an uphill battle. Here to break this all down, Brandon Fox, head trainer at MedCan Clinic. You can find that right across Canada. Good to have you here.
Good to be back.
Your jaw dropped when you saw that picture. That's a lot of weight to lose.
I know.
Where do you start?
She's at 700 right now. I think that a lot of times when you get people who are that obese, it's a physical manifestation of a mental disorder.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times when I've talked to doctors and therapists about this, a lot of times they say that these people have had a traumatic childhood. Either they've been the victim of sexual abuse of some form and they want to make themselves unattractive, or they've had a lot of change growing up, a lot of inconsistency, and they turn to food as
comfort.
For comfort. And in Pauline's case, you don't hear people talk about this much in the media, and it's surprising, but her dad actually had 5 different wives while she was growing up. She had 8 different siblings from all those different wives, so she had a lot of inconsistency growing up. So she must have, well, clearly turned to food to...
Yeah. So you see that kind of grotesque obesity and you think, okay, she's got to lose the weight. But even a doctor, when you're thinking of banding the digestive tract, would not take her until she loses, what, 300 to 400 pounds?
Yeah, and I think one of the things too, people think you can just, you can just go turn to surgery and stuff like that too. In my opinion, it's always best to start with a least invasive approach and then turn to the more invasive approach. And I don't think in her case it's the main cause of failure. It's not going to be what she's eating and her lack of exercise. I mean, nobody's forcing her down and forcing food down her throat or tying her down and preventing her from exercise. The main cause of failure is mental. It's giving up. Yeah. And a lot of the reason people give up in this situation is when they're part of the pity party. Yeah. You know, they've got a lot of enablers. A lot of people give them what feels like love and attention. You know, Pauline says that a lot of people are opening doors for her. Her primary caretaker is her son Dylan, 19 years old. I would say
which would probably be an enabler.
Yeah, she gets to connect with her son. I would say give her the most obnoxious caretaker possible. Yeah. Then maybe she'll feel like she's hitting rock bottom a bit.
Well, addiction when it comes to food is one of the, I would think, the hardest to treat. You know, when we talk of anorexia or obesity, look, you can live without alcohol, you can live without drugs, you cannot live without food, so it's one of these things that's constantly in your face, and it becomes a control issue, and it's very difficult to live without it. You just simply can't give it up. So how do you control it?
Well, what you want to do is you want to substitute the behaviors that give her a sense of comfort. I would want to go through an inventory of everything she does on a weekly basis and rate everything on a sense of comfort it gives her on a scale of 1 to 10. For example, I mean, typically the really obese people don't handle change very well. No. So I would have her watching reruns all the time. I'd have her listening to the same music. I'd try to keep a lot of her life very predictable, while just taking care of a little bit of change at once.
Okay, so she is the extreme, but if you're losing weight and you are overweight, let's say 50, 60 pounds, it seems quite daunting to someone who wants to lose the weight. It just seems like a big mountain. So how do you get your clients started?
The number one key to success with losing weight is accountability. Yeah. So recruiting people to be on your side, because if we all had the self-motivation, we'd be exactly where we want to be right now with our fitness and our body composition. So I'd say in her case, I would have her get an in-home personal trainer, because it's really hard to retreat.
But let's talk about the normal person who's not that obese, but let's say 50, 60 pounds, and they're looking at it going, oh, I'm already this overweight, I don't want to, take care of it. I mean, how do you get them to trigger and start losing the weight?
I would focus on putting together almost like a business plan. Yeah. You'd want to put it together. You want to address nutrition. You'd want to focus on substitution, not deprivation. So we were talking about sugar and sweets earlier. Yeah. You know, and it's very hard for people just to give up everything sweet.
It's hard. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks to get those cravings out of your blood.
It's like a drug addiction.
It's totally a drug addiction.
So I would say, you know what, turn to things like berries and fruits instead of sugars. I would say turn to things like maybe protein shakes and fruit smoothies instead of
But there's also sugar substitutes, agave.
Yeah, and you can go with stevia or honey as different substitutes. I would also remove any added salt or high salt foods because it paralyzes the appestat, so
also
people keep eating.
Retain water.
And also I'd remove dairy products because they spike the insulin. Yeah. So those would be a number of the keys. And I'd just say to them straight up, if you're going to follow one rule, then just make sure you don't eat anything that has any more than 4 ingredients. Many people have lost well over 100 pounds just following that one simple rule. If it's got more than 4 ingredients, don't eat it.
You know, one of the best things I eat for cravings, because I get cravings at around 8 to 10, air pop popcorn and coconut oil. I find it fills me right up. It's got a great source of fiber. Not
Yeah.
tons of it, about a cup and a half, and it does the trick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great substitute to salty snacks, chips, and different things people are taking. Low-fat popcorn, and even, coconut oil, you were saying?
Love it.
Yeah, even coconut
Love
oil is a
it.
better source of fat than the trans fats that we'll commonly see with those
I
foods.
actually find that if I don't have it in my house, I will not eat it. So
Yeah.
keep the cravings
Absolutely.
away, because if you've got the bag of chips there or the jujubes, you know
Yeah.
you're going to go
The
for
best
them.
defense is just to avoid temptation. If it's in your house,